Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. Today we're taking a look at the brand new 64mm Futura Sport Jet from FMS. Now before I get into the content, I need to let you know this video is sponsored by FMS, who sent me the Futura Sport Jet for review. I'll have affiliate links in the description if you'd like to pick one up for yourself. I'd like to say thanks to FMS for including me in the review cycle on this new release. I can't wait to check out this airplane. Let's get started. If you watch my channel, you know I like to show how models come packed in the box from the factory, and FMS, true to form, they use the same kind of style where they have the EPS styrofoam separating all the elements inside. I think they've done a fine job. I don't have any complaints about the way this particular model is packed, and hopefully the work they do makes sure that your product arrives undamaged after shipping. Before we get into the model, let's cover some key specifications. It's got a wingspan of 900 millimeters or 35.4 inches. The length is 995 millimeters or 39.2 inches. The flying weight is around 1,150 grams. It's got a 2840 3150 kV motor. The ESC is 40 amps. It requires 8 9-gram servos, and they suggest a 4-cell 2200 to 2600 25C battery. We'll get right into the fuselage because why not? This fuselage looks really cool. Up front, there's a mechanical latch to remove the canopy, and there is a tongue that holds the canopy in place up front. I definitely approve of that. And then inside the battery compartment, there is Velcro already installed, a couple of Velcro loops for your battery, and all the wiring you need to make your connections to your receiver. And they're using an XT60 connector for the ESC. Plenty of room in there to get your equipment installed. I think the receiver, even a gyro, can probably fit right in there. And then of course up front, plenty of room for a battery. They do say up to a 2600 milliamp hour battery, so I think that'll fit just fine. I don't see any issues there. The first time I saw one of these Futuras fly was at Jets over Lakeland, and I was really interested in the performance of that aircraft. So when FMS asked me to review this one, I was absolutely excited to say yes. FMS does a very nice job with their paint and their graphics. I don't really see any issues here at all. The lettering is very clean. All the graphics look clean. The lines look clean. Everything looks just fine. You see a little bit of overspray back here on the back, but it's just so trivial as to be a non-factor in my mind. All the elevator and rudder leads are taped down for easy access once you install the tail feathers. And I see brass inserts in the screw holes, so that tells me that you can remove the elevator and the rudder, which is very nice for those of you who like to pack these things up. You can see a little shaft there for the nose wheel, the steerable nose wheel. And then it says Tomahawk along the bottom. I think that's actually an air intake because that does occur ahead of the EDF unit, which sits right about here. So the EDF is sitting aft of that opening, so I think that this might be used for an air intake as well. In any case, the fuselage looks excellent. I don't see any problems at all. Very modern, very cool graphic scheme. I like this one a lot. I think this is gonna look fantastic in the air. I'm a little bit concerned about the gray color scheme, but you got those bright hits of yellow, so I think it's gonna pop just fine. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. Very nice looking fuselage on this jet. Here's a look at the port wing and the leading edge there. There is a little tiny bit of an upsweep at the end, but that's molded in by design. That's not an error, so I don't have any problems there. And then if we flip it around and look at the back, we've actually got our ball link connectors installed, the control horns installed, the servos installed, and that's true for the flaps and ailerons. Simple assembly on this one, very little work to do on your part. 2 little wires coming off the front for your aileron and flap connections, and then a couple of plastic grips for your screws to go in that hold the wing onto the fuselage. So very nicely done. I don't see any issues with the construction of the wing, and certainly by doing all of that work at the factory, it saves you a lot of assembly time, which is kind of a nice feature. Yeah, very nice. The wing looks really neat, man. I like the graphics. This is kind of a complex scheme if you really look at it. You've got bright silver, gray, yellow, and then the dark gray, and then the silver again. Kind of complex, but man, it works. It just looks really nice together. I like it a lot. They also have this in green and red too. So if you don't like yellow, they've got green and red options for those of you who prefer a different color. Here's a look at the starboard wing, and no issues here. Nice straight leading edge, the same washout on the tip, and then the ailerons and elevators are installed. They are using EPO hinges here, so just be aware of that. For a jet, this might be something you do over time, you know, cut those free, clean up the edge, and install CA style hinges. I like to do that on EPO planes that I intend to keep over time and fly a lot. So keep that in mind. You might want to do that on this model as well. They are using FMS 9-gram digital Metal Gear servos. These servos show up in a lot of FMS products and they're known to work quite well. Here's a look at the horizontal stabilizer and elevator, and I'm not sure. I thought I might have detected just a hint of anhedral, but I'm not 100% sure. I cannot tell by looking at it. It's kind of close. Kind of looks like there is, but I'm not sure. If you know whether or not this airplane has anhedral on the horizontal stabilizer, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested in hearing. I can't tell by looking. It looks flat to me. But anyway, the stabilizer is perfectly straight. And then on the leading edge where the dark gray comes together with the silver on the bottom, I don't see a very crisp line. It is a little bit broken there, just pointing it out. Kind of a trivial matter, but just so you're aware. Next up is the vertical stabilizer, and we've got the same 9-gram digital servos in there as well, and a dark gray scheme up top with some bright silver and the Futura logo. Very nice and easy access for maintenance if you need to make adjustments to your servo or replace it. Shouldn't be too hard to get that guy out of there. And then a couple of plastic captures right here on both sides that screw down into the fuselage so the rudder can come out if you want. And I know for some people like Dave, that's a really big thing. Dave loves the ability to take apart his airplanes, so if you're into being able to take your airplanes apart, there you go. Screws on the front and the back, so you can pop this one out anytime you want. Here's a look at the nose cone, a little plastic clip to latch it onto the fuselage to keep it nice and secure while it's on the airplane. A wing tube. And then one thing that kind of surprised me is that they actually have a functional scissor mechanism on the landing gear to take load. So if you bounce it in a little bit, there's some load absorption capability in this spring on the landing gear. You don't really see that too much on 64mm planes, so I think that's actually a really nice touch. Good job, FMS. And then here are the main gear, same scissor mechanism to absorb load when you're praying it in, so well done there. And here's a look at the other main landing gear. And everything already assembled, all you've got to do is attach it to the fuselage and you're ready to go fly. In terms of hardware, this has got to be the easiest model, I think, from an ARF perspective, I think I've ever seen. That's it. All you have are screws to screw the surfaces in, and you connect your wires and it's done. It's going to be a very simple install. Here's a look at the manual. This is traditional FMS fare. It's a black and white paper copy, and inside you've got English, German, French, and Chinese. And the manual, like every other FMS manual, has nice diagrams to show you how things go together. And then as you get toward the back of the setup, they give information about flying and landing and how to monitor your flight time, what kind of maintenance you should perform. We just talked about maintenance on a pilot jam not too long ago, so remember to read the maintenance section, keep up on your plane. And then a little bit of a troubleshooting checklist and some information on the ESC and how to configure it. That's actually a nice touch when you have an internal ESC to have that included in the manual. Very nicely done. And then near the back of the manual pages, they have information about your throws and your center of gravity, which is really mostly what you're going to need to get the plane set up and ready to fly. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't been this excited about a jet in quite a long time. This looks like a very cool airplane to me. I think it's going to look fantastic in the sky, and based on what I saw on the larger scale version of this model, I think it's going to fly exceptionally well. But you know, we got to do the testing. We got to check the motor and the power output and see how that works out. But assuming we get reasonable flight time out of it and the control characteristics are what I expect, I think this has the potential to be a very in-demand airplane over time. I'd like to say thanks again to FMS for including me in the review cycle on a brand new release. I'll remind you guys, if you'd like to pick one of these planes up for yourself, I'll have an affiliate link in the description. If you like this kind of content, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit the bell. YouTube will recommend another video for you right now. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy and go fly something.